All right, so I'm in the studio of Ron Greig, and we're here in Burlington. How are we doing today, Ron?
Good, thank you very much.
Good. So you are a fine artist, very fine. I'm gonna because your work is amazing. But you used to be in commercial art as well, right? So let's talk
Yeah,
about
I,
what you
I started in college at graphic design. I took that, and then I applied to a sign shop to get a job learning lettering.
Okay.
Because that was back in the 70s, and I was thinking I was going to be one of these guys that airbrushed vans.
Oh, okay.
You know, when they did all the murals on the vans.
Yeah.
But I decided that, I'd worked there for a year and a half, and then I applied as a graphic artist to a company called Claude Neon, which was outdoor advertising.
Right.
I didn't realize how outdoor it was.
It's right outdoor in the signs,
yeah,
right?
But so I applied as a graphic artist, but I went to the facility where they painted the billboards by hand.
Right. Okay.
So that's how I spent most of my time painting and learning there, because I was one of the young guys, and they were all older guys that have been doing it for years.
Yeah. So did you go through a traditional art school path, like where you went to a school like Sheridan or?
No, the only art
schools?
school I was at was Humber College, and that was for graphic design, which included life drawing and perspective and all the different disciplines of art, basically, but more for designing ads, and that was before it was all digital and computerized. So it was kind of doing, comprehensive work by hand.
Yeah. So you learned the lettering, I guess, at the sign shop, and anybody remembers lettering? It's before the computers. You actually had to draw it out.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
process,
they
they didn't even have stencils or anything. So we were basically my main job at the sign shop was designing the signs.
Yeah.
So the boss would give his input of what typeface he might want. He did a lot of submarine shop signs.
Yeah.
And we basically went by a Letraset book to reference, and then had to draw the letters full size by hand, by eye.
I've done that before. I know how hard it is. That's why I'm laughing. And I won't do it again. And I'm famous for balloon letters, which is not what anybody wants. But okay, so you kind of went to Humber, which was a smaller program. Humber's a school in the area here. Yeah. And did you find that helped you with your career? Like if you hadn't gone, I'm self-taught, so I'm the opposite. I didn't go through that kind of program. Do you find that it helped you as far as the career path? Did that help you decide that's the career I want to do?
Yeah, the thing I was hesitant about the graphic arts was I didn't want to be stuck at a drafting table and doing things that I didn't want. Like I've had trouble coming up with ideas if I'm not interested in the topic. That was my only fear. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but the painting of billboards worked out for me. And I learned a lot there. I always remember certain things from college, like key things that I use even to this day. Things about perspective, things about foreshortening, and all those things. So that helps. And then when you need them, they're kind of in the back of your mind.
They're always sitting there.
Back out,
yeah. So was that your whole career doing the signs? How long were you in that space?
I did that for about 13 years. I painted.
Okay.
And then I worked my way up, and I managed the studio of all the artists. So that was interesting because I had to critique their work. And it was sometimes a challenge because you're dealing with different personalities, but it was fun. And you learn a lot too doing that, because if you're going to explain something to somebody, you got to understand why you're telling them or asking them to do something.
Well, that's how they say that's the best way to learn something, is to actually teach it, right? You learn something because you have to break it down so someone else can understand it. But I know a lot of people get into the arts and then they get into this managing of people, and you actually don't do any art at that point, right? It's all people. I don't know about your career, but
I was there for 40 years. After that, the digital printing took over the hand painting. And I got into management, and then I became the health and safety manager.
Okay.
I also, at the same time, we had a mural company that we bought at one point called Murad, and I managed that for a while. And then I got involved with special effects almost all through my career, where if there was doing anything 3D on a billboard, they'd get my input and decide how it might be done, or what ideas were practical and what could and couldn't be done.
So you're just ahead of the curve, of the YouTube curve. You're just ahead of all the 3D, and I mean, what they're doing now is amazing, right? And I guess that's
we did one where it was a one of the first projects that I helped manage was a 48-foot Toblerone chocolate bar that was unwrapped.
My favorite.
And we laminated 1 foot thick sheets of styrofoam, glued them all together, put steel rods in them, and then carved it with chainsaws in the shop, and fiberglassed it and painted it.
Yeah.
And then,
every time I see stuff like that, I'm always amazed. Like, when I go see a movie, I actually don't care about the movie. If you think a movie like Avatar, I'm more into how they make that, or how they made that special effect happen, as opposed to the movie. I mean, the movie was good, but so that's very interesting to see that background stuff of how they do that and how they make that. So you're now doing fine arts. You've 40 years in kind of the signs and commercial commercial art. So now you're doing what? You're retired? Are you retired now?
yeah,
Or
I retired this past
retired as
August.
much as someone's ever retired,
But it's starting to feel like a job again.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what happens, right? And I'll let people know. Ron and I know each other from the gym, but I also drew at your daughter's wedding. So
Sons,
your son's wedding, yeah. So it's you get back into this, and it's just as much work whether it's a hobby or not. If you're planning on selling any of it, it's work. If you don't want to sell it, then it's a hobby. So now you're doing. We got some great paintings here. We'll talk about here in a minute. But so what you're doing fine art, because your art is fine art. So how'd you get into that? Did you always do that on the side, or?
No, on the signs, I primarily painted. Well, I started doing a bit of oil painting, not much, but mainly backgrounds and things. And then they started this product called backlights, which was rear illuminated signs.
Right.
And they were airbrushed because they had to light up. And I did that for most of my career. Okay. And those shipped all around the world, because we were pretty good at it. And we had to compete with at that time a screen printer. We had a 30-foot screen bed.
Right.
And if there was typically with the large billboards before the digital came in, if there was less than 10, we could hand paint them. If there was more than 10,